You didn't notice it, but he chose you exactly because you take love seriously. People like him go after the ones who feel deeply, the ones who give everything, the ones who don't know how to play with emotions. That's why he keeps you close. It's not charm, it's not fate. It's emotional strategy, even if he never admits it. He disappears when you need him, comes back when you start pulling away, shows up on the exact day you plan to move on. That's not coincidence. That's a pattern. He doesn't want a relationship, but he also doesn't want to lose you, because losing you means losing the feeling of being desired, and that's the only thing he's truly afraid of. And you stay trapped in the middle, trapped in the almost, in the promise that never becomes presence, in the affection that never becomes commitment. Now breathe and face this. The problem was never lack of love. It was his addiction to freedom and his fear of losing your attention. But why does that hurt you so deeply? And why do you still accept so little from someone who gives you almost nothing? You think you're in love with him, but psychologically, you're hooked on his mystery. Unstable people activate your alert system, and the brain confuses alert with passion. This isn't love. This is emotional survival. When he gets close and then pulls away, your body goes into hypervigilance. You scan for signals. You try to predict his next move. You try to understand what you did wrong. This creates dependence, not connection. This type of bond has a name. It's an intermittent bond, a form of attachment that creates emotional addiction, because the little he gives comes packaged as if it were a lot, and you learn to survive on crumbs, believing they're signs of love. Here is where Jung enters. You're not attached to him. You're attached to the projection you created. He became the symbol of the freedom you lost, and that's why you try to win him, as if winning him meant recovering yourself. This is the blind spot that hurts the most. You're not fighting for him. You're fighting for the mirror, for the image you created, for the love you idealized, for the hope of finally being chosen. And that's why you blame yourself. Because when he disappears, you feel you've lost more than someone. You feel you lost a version of yourself. You feel you lost value. You feel you lost meaning. But none of that is true. He doesn't confuse you on purpose. He is confused with himself. People like him don't run from you. They run from depth, run from responsibility, run from their own shadow. And here's the deeper truth. When someone is emotionally shallow, you try to fill the space. You give too much. You over-deliver. You forget yourself. And you become exactly what he uses to feel important. Now you see the pattern. The anxiety doesn't come from him. It comes from what he awakens in you. It comes from your emotional history, from what you learned to call love and was never love. Breathe, because now comes the turn. If you understood this far, you've taken the first step, the most important step, the step that breaks the cycle. But what this reveals about you goes even deeper. The illusion starts like this. You think he's different. You think he just needs time. You think he will be better with you. You think his quietness means depth, but it doesn't. It means emotional distance disguised as mystery. He gives you attention at strategic moments, at the perfect hours, with perfectly timed texts, with compliments that sound overly sincere, just enough to keep you close, never enough to actually choose you. And you mistake this for chemistry, for destiny, for rare connection. But it's not rare connection. It's predictable behavior from someone who needs to be desired to feel alive. The illusion gets stronger when he loses you, because that's when he comes back. He comes back sweet, comes back deep, comes back saying everything he won't sustain. He comes back because you're leaving, and you believe the return, not because he changed, but because you want love to win. You want to believe you didn't choose wrong. You want to believe your effort will matter. But none of this is about love. It's about repetition. Here's the truth almost no one admits. He's not indecisive. He's not broken. He's not confused. He's perfectly comfortable staying shallow, and you are way too deep for him. The problem was never that he didn't know what he wanted. He knows exactly what he wants. He wants presence without commitment, affection without responsibility. He wants you without needing to be yours. He wants everything except a relationship. And you're stuck in a dangerous cycle where every crumb becomes hope, every return becomes a promise, every silence becomes an excuse, every now it will work becomes not again, and you slowly disappear inside it. The final illusion is the cruelest one. You think that if you love enough, he will choose you. You think that if you're patient, he'll change. You think that if you give more, he'll give the minimum, but it never happens, because he doesn't have the depth to love the way you love. Here comes the hardest blow. You didn't lose him, because he was never yours. You lost the illusion, and losing the illusion feels like losing someone, but it also opens the door to truth. If this truth is opening your eyes right now, subscribe before you move on. Here, you'll never hear you're the problem, but you will finally understand why you feel so deeply and why God allows certain people into your life. Each video helps you break emotional patterns that keep you stuck and gives you back the strength life tried to take from you. Click the button and stay with us. You don't have to walk through this alone. There is a moment in your story when God stops letting you deceive yourself. That moment hurts. It breaks illusions. It opens old wounds, but it also opens your eyes. And that's why you're here now. You thought you were being rejected by someone, but you were actually being redirected by God, not toward another person, but toward another level of awareness, to see what you didn't want to see, and to admit what you never wanted to face. This is where Scripture becomes a mirror. James 1:8 says, "A double-minded man is unstable in all he does." And God shows you this with almost painful clarity, not to shame you, but to free you, to remind you that his inconsistency was never about you. God knew you would try to heal someone who refuses healing, knew you would love someone who doesn't surrender, knew you would confuse signs with destiny, and insist on what hurts you. So he began removing the charm. He began pulling the illusion out of your eyes. And even though it hurts, it is grace. Because God protects you even when you don't notice. He closes doors you kept trying to open. He pulls you away from what looked like love but never was. He stops encounters that would deepen your wounds and leads you to a place where your heart can finally breathe. You're not losing love. You're losing a cycle. God is pulling you out of the shallow, out of the almost, out of the he comes and goes, and into the depth you've always needed. Maybe you think this is punishment, but it's healing. It's a new beginning. It's spiritual repositioning. God didn't break you. He realigned you. He didn't abandon you. He pulled you back to himself. The truth is, you were not left. You were rescued. Rescued from a story that shrank you. Rescued from a love that existed only in your projection. Rescued from someone who would never go beyond halfway. And God knew your soul deserved more. Now God is taking you somewhere inside yourself, a place of clarity, of boundaries, of conscious choice, of love that doesn't wound, and of faith that rebuilds you. And what comes next is no longer about understanding him. It's about understanding yourself, understanding what God is revealing, understanding the call to leave this pattern, and enter the love that finally sustains you. If this revelation stirred something inside you, subscribe to the channel now. Here, every story helps you understand what God is trying to show you through your relationships. And before you continue, write in the comments, "I choose my healing." This seals what God started in you today. The first action is simple but deep. Interrupt emotional access. It's not cutting contact. It's cutting impact. Cutting the opening. Cutting the space he occupies inside you. It's changing where your heart rests. You do this by recognizing every trigger. His notification. The short message. The emoji that feels like affection. The miss you that leads nowhere. Each of these signals activates dependency. So you must turn reaction into awareness. When your phone vibrates, you breathe. When he appears, you observe. When he disappears, you don't chase. When he comes back, you don't open everything. This is emotional mastery, not indifference. The second part of this strategy is even more serious. You must stop using him as a thermometer, because every time he gets close, your mood rises. Every time he pulls back, your value drops. Every silence defines your worth, and that is territory only God should occupy. So before you respond to him, you respond to yourself. You ask, what do I really want? You ask, does he give me that? You ask, what is God showing me here? These questions break urgency and place control back in your hands. Now comes the practical shift. You choose one emotional boundary for today, something small, something concrete, something that gives you presence back. Like not replying immediately, or not initiating the conversation, or not rescuing the interaction, or not accepting less than what you asked for. This boundary reorganizes your soul and unlocks the part of you that always gave in. It's a discreet but powerful act of healing. And there's a spiritual reason behind this. Every time you say no to the pattern that hurt you, you say yes to God. Yes to your future. Yes to your dignity. Yes to your own reconstruction. And when you do that, something shifts inside you. Anxiety lowers. Your heart slows down. The bond loses power. The illusion loses shine. And you return to yourself. Today, your action is this. Close the emotional door without closing your heart. Separate presence from dependency. Separate affection from crumbs. Separate attention from commitment. Separate him from you. And when you do that, God will show you the rest. Because healing begins with one small choice. One repeated choice. One conscious choice. One choice that breaks invisible chains and opens space for real love to enter. The next chapter brings you the second healing strategy, even more transformative. The second strategy is as powerful as it is painful. Take him off the pedestal inside your mind, because it's not him you're attached to. It's the idealized version you created, the version you imagined, the version you hoped for, the version you projected, the version that never existed. Jung said projection falls when consciousness rises, and that's what you're going to do now. Rise within yourself. See him as he is, not as you wish he were, not as he seemed at the start, but as he actually behaves. The practice is simple but brave. You will list 3 things he does that hurt you, and 3 things you ignore, and 3 things you invented. This list breaks the spell and gives you emotional reality back. Then you face the hardest fact. He isn't an almost love. He is a non-love, not out of cruelty, but out of emotional limitation. And you need to accept that without fantasy. This exercise redefines what you call connection. You thought he was intense, but he was only available at the beginning. You thought he was deep, but he only seemed deep when he needed to keep you close. That's not depth, it's his survival strategy. When you take him off the pedestal, something shifts. The charm breaks, the power falls, the glow fades, and you start seeing your own strength, the strength that was always there. Now comes the spiritual layer of this strategy. You will pray not for him to return, but for you to return to yourself, to your clarity, to your identity, to God reorganizing your heart. This prayer is simple. You close your eyes and say, Lord, remove from me what was never mine. This sentence cleans, cuts invisible ties, and opens space for real healing. The last step is symbolic. Choose an object that represents this cycle, a picture, a saved conversation, a memory, and release it today, not out of anger, out of freedom. And the beautiful part is what happens when you release. You feel space, you feel lightness, you feel a good silence, you feel God pulling you to a new level, and you realize you never depended on him. You depended on returning to yourself. This is the second strategy, concrete, deep, spiritual, transformative, and now you are ready for redemption. Stop whatever you're doing right now and pay attention to this. Seriously, don't let your mind drift at this moment. What I'm about to say is the part that changes everything. Do you remember the beginning of this story? That feeling of being chosen halfway? That enchantment that turned into anxiety? That waiting that turned into exhaustion? That illusion that shattered like glass? Now look at you here, awake, because something changed in the silence. It changed when you saw the truth. It changed when you took him off the pedestal. It changed when you returned to yourself. It changed when you realized love is not confusion. Love is clarity, and God was in it all along, not punishing you, not abandoning you, but guiding each step, until you saw that it was never love. It was attachment to absence. And when you understood that, space opened inside you, a lighter space, a calmer space, a space where you breathe again, where anxiety stops ruling you, where suffering stops being routine. Now you see what you didn't see before. You didn't need him to feel whole. You needed to see yourself with truth, to see your patterns, to see your projections, to see that love begins where illusion ends. This isn't failure. It's evolution. It's soul maturity. It's emotional healing happening at the right pace. It's God reorganizing your story, piece by piece. The most beautiful part. You still believe in love, but now you believe differently, without desperation, without begging, without accepting crumbs. Now you know love doesn't leave you confused, doesn't leave you anxious, doesn't leave you waiting, doesn't leave you lost. Love finds you. Love sustains you. You were afraid of losing him, but what you lost was a cycle, The cycle of almost. The cycle of halves is victory. The cycle of illusion. So take a deep breath, because this is the beginning of your beginning. The version of you that no longer accepts small love, that doesn't return to what God removed, that understands one thing clearly. You were never hard to love. He was too shallow to meet you where you are. And when you finally understand that, your heart aligns, your faith stabilizes, your soul finds rest, your story changes direction, and you realize God didn't take someone from you. He took you out of a place you were never meant to stay. If this message spoke to you, subscribe to our channel. Here, every story reveals why you hurt and what God is teaching you through it. Psychology to understand yourself, spirituality to understand the why behind it all. And for you who reached the end of this video, write in the comments, "I choose the love that sustains me." May God honor everyone who declares this